that is called ionization or dissociation. It will form H plus and Cl minus. Base are compounds which will produce hydroxide ions. Hydroxide is OH minus ions. Example, sodium hydroxide. When you dissolve sodium hydroxide in water, it will form Na plus and OH minus ion. So we know that sodium hydroxide is an ionic compound. It will dissociate only in liquid state. Okay, so we have to dissolve them in water. Okay, we already learned how to name acids, bases, but we can just really quick review that. Okay, acids are always aqueous solution. In order to be release H plus ion, they need to be dissolved in water. Acids contain hydrogen and a non-metal. Basically, we can say a hydrogen ion and anion. Anion is negatively charged. Based on the number of atoms and type of anions, acids are classified into different types. So first one is binary acid. Binary acid means word binary, we know that it is 2, right? It containing only 2 elements. One is hydrogen and another element. Okay, for writing the name, all binary acids, they will start with the hydro. That's how we will identify. And they will end with IC acid. And the root word comes from the element. If it is chlorine, chlor, fluorine, fluor, like that. So say for example, hydrochloric acid. Hydro is the prefix. Ic acid is the suffix. And there is a root word which is chlor. Another example, if I am writing HBr, so you can see there are only 2 atoms. There is no polyatomic ion. So it is what? Hydrobromic acid. Then oxygen containing acid, basically oxo or oxy acids. They contain hydrogen and a polyatomic ion. We know that polyatomic ions are negative charged. So the anion will be a polyatomic ion. And we will never start the name. We will never start the name with the hydro. There is no hydro needed. Very important, okay? So there are 2 types of polyatomic ions we learned. Some of the polyatomic ions are ending in ATE. Some of them ends in ITE. If it is ATE, you will replace the ATE with IC acid. If it is ITE, you will replace with OUS acid. Remember, I ate something icky. I bite something delicious. Those are the things we can use for remembering that. Okay, so let's start naming. So first one, we are going to see HClO3 and the polyatomic ion is chlorate. So the name will be chloric acid. Then whenever you see ClO2, that is chloride. That means it is chlorous acid. And only exception, whenever you see sulfur or phosphorus or phosphate, the root word you have to write up to R. Those are the exceptions we learned. Okay, let's start naming and write the formula. So this one is nitric acid. If it is the polyatomic ion is what? Nitrate. And you know the formula for nitrate, which is NO3 minus. So since there is 1 negative charge, we need 1 hydrogen. So if you see 1 negative charge, you will add 1 hydrogen at the beginning. Hydrogen needed. If it is an inorganic acid, we have to write a hydrogen at the beginning. Next one, sulfurous acid. That means it is ends in ITE. So sulfite is SO3 minus 2. Since it is minus 2, we will replace the minus 2 with 2 hydrogen acid. Okay, the difference, first one contain 1 hydrogen atom, second one contain 2 hydrogen atom. Then next name, it starts with the hydro. Whenever you see hydro, that means this is a single element bromine. So you will write bromic acid. Bromine has a charge. It is in 17th group, minus 1 charge. So you will add 1 hydrogen. Next one, forgot to talk about the names of the bases. It's a base, okay? We already know how to name the base. Bases contain metal and OH, or we can say a cation and hydroxide ion. A cation and hydroxide ion. Okay, so the name, you name the metal first, then the non-metal. So this is the typo. Say for example, if it is NaOH, you will name sodium, then add hydroxide. Very simple. Okay, let's go. Here it says beryllium hydroxide. We know the symbol for beryllium. It's in group 2, charge 2, and hydroxide charge of minus 1. So we have to crisscross to find the formula. So it will be what? Beryllium hydroxide. If the polyatomic ion, if it is more than once, we have to write that inside a parenthesis and write 2 outside. Next one, carbonic acid. Okay, ic means 8. You will write in carbonate, which is CO3 minus 2. So H2CO3. So that is the acid in soda, right? Okay, then we are going to write the names now. So look at the polyatomic ion. So first you have to identify whether it is a binary acid or oxo acid. Easy way, I would say, if you didn't see oxygen, that will be binary acid in 99%. Okay, so this one is phosphate. So 8 will be replaced by ic acid. Since it is phosphate, the root word I already said like this. Root word is phosphor. So it will be phosphoric acid. There is no space. Okay, phosphoric acid. Next one, nitrite, which is NITE. So you will write nitrite and replace the ITE with what? OUS acid. I bite something delicious. Okay, look at this one. There are only 2 atoms. It's a binary atom acid. So if it is a binary, remember you have to start with the hydro and it is iodine, so iodic acid. Next one, barium hydroxide. Let's write the name. First write the name of the metal. First write the name of the metal, which is barium. Then space hydroxide. Again, there is a binary acid. All binary acid will start with the hydro. Then root word chlor. Then ic acid. Okay. So we are going to do the practice. This is the same practice we have done like in reaction unit. Okay, so I'm gonna do maybe the first one. First you have to identify whether it is an acid or base. Acid starts with the hydrogen, base ends with OH. Okay, so first one is an acid and it is a binary acid, so the name will be hydrofluoric acid. Okay, and this one is ending with OH, that will be a base, so that will be aluminum hydroxide. Okay, now you can do it. I'm going to do one more. Maybe you will get confused on this one. This is ClO and it starts with the hydrogen, so that is an acid. ClO, what is the name of ClO? So people always get confused because its name has hypo on it. It's not hydro. So that is hypochlorite. So you just look at the last letters. It is chloride. So replace the last letters and write OUS acid, hypochlorous acid. And also this one also acid. And it has a name. We already memorized the name, perchlorate. Since it is ATE, you will replace with what? IC acid. So that will be perchloric acid. Again, you can do that. Then there is a last challenging one, maybe not so challenging one. It's a polyatomic ion. You have never learned. That is a formate ion. Has a charge 1. So that is start with the hydrogen. It says formic acid. So formula will be HCOH. And that will be an acid. So this is an example for organic acid. Organic acids will have COOH. You can write it as like a starting H. So this is the way of writing organic acid. This is the hydrogen it will lose when it dissolves in water. Okay, so don't get confused. Organic acid, we will write the hydrogen at the end. Okay, so that was the names and formula. Now let's see properties of acids and bases. Okay, well, we'll stop recording and re-record the other one.